Chris, you're gonna wanna like back off the mic a good
Sorry.
12 inches or more.
I know the way it feeds, yes. I've been on your side as well, so.
All right.
So, calling it to order, the first item of business is, how did we phrase it? I think it's, selection of a chairperson and vice chairperson, so we could accept nominations for the chair.
Thank you.
Nomination?
I'll nominate Tom Neal to continue as the chair. We'll need a second,
I would
though.
welcome that nomination.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, great. And are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? No? All right, shall we close nominations for the chair? All in favor? Or, yeah, okay, so do we still vote or no? Okay. I guess so. So, great. Congratulations, or condolences, however you look at it. Okay, and then for selecting nominations for vice chair, are there any nominations?
Well, thank you. I would nominate Sarah Watson. Just as I mentioned at our Parks meeting last night, I'd like to see two people on council be placed into a vice chair position right away if possible, so that they can kind of get up to speed on the committee process, and I think Sarah would be great.
I'll second Sarah's nomination.
Are there any other nominations? Great. Seeing no other nominations, I think congrats. Great, good. Okay. Then our second item of business is setting our regular meeting dates and time for the 2020 to 2022 term. We had met on, as many of you know, on the first Tuesday and occasionally the third Thursday of the month, for this standing committee. Is there discussion or thoughts on changing the meeting time or maintaining it?
Well, this is Tom Neal. I'll just say that I remain very flexible, so I want to be able to accommodate anybody else's concerns.
Becky, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. I would have, the only issue is the third Thursday, I have a neighborhood meeting, and that would be the only issue. The first Tuesday is not a problem for me, but I don't know how many meetings you have on the third.
Very few,
So
really.
that would
Yeah,
be,
it's
that
only
would be my
occasion.
only concern.
Okay. Do you like the cadence? Yeah.
Why don't we see if we have consensus to go with the first Tuesday, and then we would only use the third Thursday if necessary, but even then, I mean, if Becky has a conflict, we could always poll for quorum, and if we don't have one, we could just pick a different date.
Sure. And I did want to bring up, we have received proposals for the 1300 Cleveland, so I wanted to, I know that some of the proposers are anxious to have initial committee review and begin that process. So we might recommend having the maybe third Thursday meeting in May, because we haven't had any substantive business, obviously, in this first meeting. Or we could wait till June 2nd, but I just know there's sensitivity to it. So your thoughts on?
I have just a quick comment. With this one thing we're going to have to watch, and I had just asked the city attorney about this afternoon, is while we're operating under the emergency declaration,
Yep.
we're limited to essential items only, and so we're going to have to make a serious determination as to what's really essential.
Yep.
And so if it's not, it's going to have to keep, and there's already been some, tension about that. So
Yep.
I think we're going to have to be mindful of that, because, that proposal really was, at least that area was going nowhere fast until recently.
Correct. I guess, so the chair, if I understand it right, the chair makes a determination, the balancing test on what's essential and not essential, right?
I will do
from
that.
the mayoral declaration.
Talking to the city attorney.
Okay.
And seeing what also is common practice.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah, I think, does anyone else have additional comments? Tom, maybe?
Peculiar
Yes.
does.
Tom Killeen, yeah. Mhm.
Thank you. And yeah, I would echo Alder Rasmussen's sentiment on that. And I would also note that this is in my district, District 3, and one challenge, not just on this matter, but on most that would involve citizen input. It's a very challenging period right now to interface with constituents and try to gather input or have them give their input. I know that at some point it may be inevitable that we have to proceed with some different mechanisms on the public involvement, but you know, the governor's order, I know, I believe it's slated toward the end of this month for the stay-at-home order, and I don't know if that's may sync with the city's emergency order with the essential and non-essential items, but even if it would not, I think after that stay-at-home order is lifted, it will provide some leeway on my constituents and other citizens being able to perhaps be more involved. So if we could try to see how this time frame goes and try to be sensitive to the constituent input side of it too, please.
Sure, well said. Okay.
Thanks.
Also,
Other-
I would just add that Becky's concern about her neighborhood group, at least for this possible
Right.
third Thursday this month, might be a moot point.
Right, it won't be a problem.
Then who else? Anyone else have their hands up? Okay. Any other comments on that? Staff will work with Tom to, okay, we can take public comments, I guess.
Deborah Ryan, 702 Elm. It happens, Sarah and I are on SISM, so I guess, I know they meet on Thursdays, but I don't know when on Thursdays.
Second Thursday.
Okay. It just happens, a number of neighborhoods have met on Monday, and I do have a replacement lead for Westies, and they may move the date. So if you can stick to one certain day would be better, but I understand if there's something emergency that you might want to pick a different day, but it helps if you stay with one day of the week. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I
and as
think that's how
always,
we
you know,
ended up in that
Mr. Schock will
situation.
be in touch with us via email to, you know,
Correct.
finalize any scheduling or deal with any concerns about scheduling. So
Great.
everybody happy with that? Okay, good. Well,
Let's,
that being the end
yeah.
of our agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
yeah, we can, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Great. And just, now that we're adjourned, it's not an item of the agenda, but I just wanted to make a notation. Today, our new business development specialist, Sean Fitzgerald, starts. And so Sean is here with us this evening. So welcome him to the development team of the city. So, very good.
Oh, definitely. Welcome, Sean.
Great.
All right, look forward to working with you.
Cool. And it sounds
good.
like we'll probably assume that we won't have a meeting in May, but we'll evaluate that. And then our next meeting would be June 2nd, first Tuesday, June 2nd. We'll keep 5:15, I think. We didn't talk time, but it seemed like that was still amenable. So in general, it'll be 5:15. Sometimes we may move it just a little bit, depending on folks' schedule, but yeah, let's assume 5:15.